So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about Class 17 market lambs. That was the market lamb class over there in the second round. So you initially walk up to this class and you kind of think it might be a little bit more difficult than the first one, and I tend to agree with that. But I think if you truly step back and you kind of evaluate them, you can kind of shake it out if you stay calm. But you initially walk up to the class, and I think you need to split it into pairs. I think that there's a speckle and the number 4 sheep, so number 3 and 4, that you kind of need to float towards the bottom, and you kind of need to find 1 and 2 to go up into your top pair. From there, I think it's just a little bit of evaluation. If you look at the carcass sheep within that top pair, you're going to gravitate towards 1. I think when you look at that one's more opened up on the top side of its skeleton. It's shapelier and firmer in terms of its rack, comes back to be a bit fresher to the edges of its loin. You get your hands on that one's ribs, and I think that one is just a little bit better in terms of his finish today. You can sit there and tell me that one's a little bit more opened up at the point of its shoulder and a little bit deeper in terms of its chest, and I'll listen to that all day. So if that's a switchable pair, but the committee goes ahead and starts 1. We followed up with 2. That 2 sheep, really good in terms of the shape of his rib and his forerib. I actually think that one's a little bit more opened up in terms of his pin set and down into his lower leg. But you get your hands on that one, and that one's a little bit softer, not as show day fresh as the one that sits in front of him. On the flip side of things, in that bottom pair between 3 and 4, you get in behind 3, and that one has a little bit more base width. I think that one might have a little bit lower stifle. Certainly that one's better in the shape of its rib and bolder and more dense in terms of its forerib. But again, you get your hands on that one. That one's a little softer and a little spongier, but that's to be expected from a speckle sheep. Then you come in and you go to that 4 sheep, which is a really high cutability, really lean sheep, has a ton of shape onto the top side of its skeleton. Unfortunately, that doesn't translate to a lot of mass and power up high, but still one who's really, really high cutability, really lean and shapely. Unfortunately, just doesn't have a ton of power. Ultimately, the committee goes ahead and sorts that 1, 2, 4, 3, or excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, cuts of 4, 3, and 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, cuts of 4, 3, and 2.